Warm welcome viewers, you're watching 7 at 7, the only news bulletin where I curate the day's top 7 stories for our viewers. Our top focus this evening, big win for the government. The Supreme Court has upheld 10% EWS quota. What does it mean? What are its implications? We're going to get you all of that in the next 20 minutes. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. These are the headlines. Supreme Court upholds 10% quota for poor in 3-2 judgment. Modi government's caste-free quota move upheld. Politics over quota explodes. Congress leader makes shocking comments, calls Supreme Court casteist. Karnataka Congress neta go on a Hindu tirade. Say the word Hindu doesn't belong to India, calls the meaning of the word Hindu dirty.
हिंदू शब्द कहाँ से आ गया? ये हमारा है। हिंदू का जो मीनिंग है वो बहुत गंदी है।
BJP's big twist in Liquorgate probe. Manish Sisodia's aide Dinesh Arora says he's ready to turn approver, says ready to provide all information linked to the alleged scam. Godvan Sukesh writes another letter to Delhi LG, alleges involvement of Kejriwal Kailash Gehlot. Say facing constant threat from Satendra Jain. Anti-hijab protests erupt in Kerala's Kozhikode. Women burn hijab on the streets in an Iran-inspired protest. Parali politics intensifies as BJP tweets video of crop burning in Chief Minister Man's turf Sangrur. Says Kejriwal forcing farmers to burn stubble. Viewers, what could be called a big win for the government, the Supreme Court today has upheld the 10% EWS quota. What does it really mean? What are its implications? While politics is rife over it, many political parties criticizing the move. But it's also got grave implications. While now there was already a 49.5% reserve quota where various caste categories are concerned, now this 10% will make reservation up to viewers 59.5%. That means merit will only hold 40.5% sway. Here's more.
सामान्य श्रेणी के गरीब युवाओं को शिक्षा और सरकारी सेवाओं में 10% आरक्षण नए भारत के आत्मविश्वास को और बढ़ाने वाला है.
It was in 2019 before the general elections when the Modi government announced 10% quota for the poor in general category. Seen as a game-changing move to empower the poor outside the quota ambit, the move had run into legal hurdles. But 3 years later, the centre stands vindicated, with the Supreme Court putting its seal of approval and upholding the 103rd Amendment to Constitution. A 5-judge bench led by outgoing Chief Justice Uday Umesh Lalit delivered individual judgments and finally ruled 3:2 in favor of the quota law. The judges supporting the quota for poor, Justices Pardiwala, Trivedi and Maheshwari, said that it did not violate basic structure of Constitution. The dissenting judges, Chief Justice of India and Justice Bhatt, said amendment undermines fabric of social justice and emphasized on the fact that majority of the poor belong to SC, ST, OBC categories.
This has already raised a lot of concerns in the political sphere of the country, but also raises important legal questions when it comes to the reservation policy of the country, particularly since there are multiple other cases pending before the Supreme Court regarding SC, ST and OBC reservations. However, this verdict marks a major shift in policy when it comes to reservations in India.
SLP यहाँ pending थी. इलेक्शन के पहले आनंद फानन में 10% आर्थिक आधार पर आरक्षण दिया गया, जिसको आज यहाँ पे मेजॉरिटी व्यू है जस्टिस महेश्वरी के साथ में जस्टिस बेला त्रिवेदी एंड जस्टिस पारदीवाला, इनके व्यू ने अपहेल्ड किया है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट को.
The Supreme Court verdict sparked celebrations in some places, with Dogra front workers dancing to drum beats and distributing sweets in Jammu.
बड़ा स्पष्ट फैसला है. किसी ने गरीबों के विषय के अंदर विचार करने का प्रयास करा. आज गरीबों की सुनवाई हुई है. अब गरीब का बच्चा आरक्षण प्राप्त कर सकेगा नौकरियों के अंदर। आज गरीब का बच्चा डॉक्टर बन सकेगा, आज गरीब का बच्चा इंजीनियर बन सकेगा, आज गरीब का बच्चा ऊंचे पदों पर बैठ जाए।
The quota for poor was hailed by the centre and the BJP, but saw massive pot shots from opposition quarters. Congress's Udit Raj took a massive dig at the apex court, terming it casteist. The Congress distanced itself but targeted the BJP, prompting attacks from the saffron outfit.
Why have they been rejecting all matters of SC, ST, OBC, saying that 50% limit cannot be exceeded? How could it exceeded? Again, I am reiterating that EWS, I am in support of EWS, I am not opposing it. However, the mindset is getting reflected in the judgment.
The words of Dr. Udit Raj clearly amount to contempt of the Honorable Supreme Court of India. These are scurrilous remarks, and in a democracy like ours, they should be condemned, and we hope the Honorable Supreme Court of India will suo motu take cognizance of the words of Congress party leader Dr. Udit Raj.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय के साथ जो संविधान को मानने वाले लोग हैं वो सब उनको मानने को तैयार है।
जानना चाहता हूं कि 47 साल की सबसे बड़ी बेरोजगारी जिस सरकार के पास हो, जो आर्मी में, सेना में भी 4 साल के लिए भर्ती करके नौजवानों को बेरोजगार कर रही हो, उसके पास नौकरियां कहां हैं? ये तो भाजपा का चुनावी हथकंडा था।
DMK chief and Tamil Nadu CM Stalin called the verdict a setback to struggle for social justice. His statement drew ire of BJP again.
Judgment, they have mentioned very clearly, the majority judgment, this 10% EWS quota is important to further social justice, because social justice in totality means you got to take everybody along. Some could be socially backward, some could be economically backward. So everything we call that is justice. So they say this 10% EWS in the judgment will further the concept of social justice. So I think at least the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, M.K. Stalin, has got very lot of unfounded fear.
This is the first time even that quota in jobs and education will be based on economic status and not caste. With Anisha Mathur in Delhi and Sunilji Bhatt in Jammu, Bureau Report, India Today.
Viewers, the politics aside, what does it actually mean for you and I? Just to give you figures on that. Already there's about 50% reservation when it comes down to the caste calculations. When you move beyond that and we include the EWS quota, which adds another 10%, 59.5% viewers, and that's a whopping amount. 59.5% is now reserved. What is left is 40.5% for the general category. I want to cut across and get a larger understanding of it from my colleague Nalini, who's been tracking the courts very keenly. Nalini, will you break it down for us? Who can actually apply? What are, the permutations, combinations that would work? And how will it actually, if say both of us are EWS and we apply, then what happens?
Well, Preeti, first thing that we need to highlight over here, it's that very interesting, is that out of 5 judges, right, there are 4 separate opinions that have been drafted in this judgment. So even judges who have ruled in favor of granting the EWS reservations have done it for different reasons, because there are 3 separate opinions by them. But at the same time, talking about the criteria, now the simple defined criteria for somebody to be eligible under the economically weaker sections category is that, one, their family income has to be less than 8 lakh rupees. Now, what does family include in this? Family includes their parents, if they have any spouse, and any siblings or children under the age of 18. Along with this, they have to ensure that they don't have an agricultural land over 5 acres, along with a house that is not over 1,000 square feet. So this is the basic criteria that has been laid down for who can be eligible to even apply for this reservation. But at the same time, this is only for eligibility for application of the reservation. As to whether or not they will be granted the quota is a decision that is ultimately going to be left up to the institution or the government in this case, as the case may be. Along with that, a very interesting aspect aspect regarding this entire matter is that this is not applicable to the people who already have the reservations. The 50% category that you were talking about, SCs, STs, OBCs who already enjoy reservation under different categories, this will not be applicable to them. This is only for the general categories that they can apply for this EWS reservation. So it remains to be seen exactly how it's going to be implemented, because remember, because of these legal hurdles, the 103rd Amendment has not been able to bring into force yet. But now with the Supreme Court giving its go-ahead, the implementation is finally going to happen, which means people can finally go ahead and apply for this reservation and hope to get a government job or an educational institution seat according to whichever state they are available in.
Nalini, when we talk about educational institutions and government jobs, yes, one understands because one has seen the reservation quotas in there. But when we are talking about educational institutions, what all does it entail?
Well, the specific judgment that talks about all government-aided educational institutions along with private unaided educational institutions. So ultimately the decision, of course, is going to be up to the institution to decide as to who is eligible for this, and depending on, because along with application for the quota, you'll have to provide all of the documents. Now you have to ensure that all of your cumulative income, not just from your salary, but even your family income from agricultural sources or business sources or any other sources does not exceed the 8 lakh limit. Now another interesting aspect in this is that this very issue as to whether or not 8 lakhs is a fixed limit that should be applied for economic weaker sections is also in challenge under the Supreme Court.
Right.
So the Supreme Court might change the criteria for who is eligible as an economically weaker section altogether, depending on what happens in that case. But till the time that is not decided, this 8 lakh limit is what stays. So under this, people can apply. And another very interesting aspect that the viewers should know is that even though the judges who have ruled in favor of the EWS quota have specifically in their judgments spoken about how it is the time to end the reservation, and the policy for reservations cannot be allowed to go on indefinitely. Because initially also when the reservations had come in, they had come in only for a specific time period, not into perpetuity.
But it's become into perpetuity right now. You know.
Precisely, because it's become into perpetuity, now there's a new form of reservation that's coming in. So the Supreme Court judges have very categorically said...
Is this EWS 10% quota time-bound?
Not so far as the Supreme Court judgment is concerned, but at the same time they have laid down in very clear words that reservation needs to be brought to an end. As to when it can be done is something that the government has to
I'm going to ask you one very quick
Yeah.
question before I let you go, Nalini. What is the biggest criticism of it legally?
Well, the biggest criticism regarding reservation is, of course, the fact that even though it is meant to be for the people who need a little bit of support from the government, but it does not give an equal opportunity to everybody. But at the same time, the Supreme Court has said that it's a form of an affirmative action by the state, which means that people who might not have the same opportunities need to be provided these opportunities. But at the same time, to what extent, until what time, is something that the government seriously needs to ponder on, especially after the Supreme Court verdict has come.
Appreciate you joining us, Nalini, and I completely understand there'll be many of our viewers who right now, would be thinking that the quota, the general quota now has shrunk down to 40.5%. What if you don't fall in either the EWS or any of the caste calculations? Then what? You fight it out for that 40.5% category only. With that, I want to quickly shift focus, viewers, on our big political story. Himachal Pradesh is going to vote on the 12th of November, and it's game on in terms of the political campaign. Here's more.
आज सोलन ने पूरे देश को संदेश दे दिया है। हिमाचल में एक बार फिर डबल इंजन सरकार। हिमाचल में एक बार फिर भाजपा सरकार।
मुझे लगता है कि अब कांग्रेस आ रही है कि नहीं? एक बार जोर से बोलिए, कांग्रेस आ रही है। कितने साल कांग्रेस को मौका दिया, कितने साल बीजेपी को मौका दिया, आपसे केवल 5 साल मांगने आया हूँ, 5 साल दे दो।
State of war Himachal is in its last leg. Days from now, the Himalayan state will go to polls. And all the parties are pulling out all stops to woo the voters. Top guns of the BJP are camping in Himachal to campaign for the party, with a motive to change the trend in the state, which has witnessed musical chairs between the BJP and the Congress for more than 3 decades. The ruling BJP released its manifesto promising uniform civil code.
8 lakh jobs, an Uttar Pradesh-like survey, and closure of illegal madrasas, and rupees 12,000 crores for religious tourism.
जरा बोलो, जो लोग 60 साल में नहीं कर पाए वो 5 साल में कर पाएंगे क्या? कुसुम में 20 साल से नहीं कर पाए वो 5 साल में कर पाएंगे क्या? कर तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी पाएगी मित्रों।
जहां तक कांग्रेस का सवाल है, वो न सोचते हैं, न समझते हैं, न करते हैं, न किया है। ओआरओपी उन्होंने कहा इतने सालों से दिया क्या? नहीं दिया। किसने दिया? प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने दिया, ड्यू डिलिजेंस के साथ किया। हम जो भी काम करते हैं वो ड्यू डिलिजेंस के साथ करते हैं।
हमने जो कहा है वो सोच समझ के कहा है, जिम्मेवार पार्टी के नाते हमने कहा है, और जो कहा है वो करेंगे भी। पहले भी जो कहा है वो किया है।
The Congress, relying on the trend of Himachal picking a new government in every poll, is certain of its win. The Grand Old Party is betting its fortune on freebies in Himachal and is going after the BJP on the UCC.
वो तो बहुत सारी बातें किए हैं जिसकी आवश्यकता यहाँ नहीं है। उन सब विषयों को उन्होंने रखा है जिसकी कोई आवश्यकता हिमाचल में दिखाई नहीं देता। भाई ऐसा है, हम लोग बांटे तो रेवड़ी है और वो अपने चहेते उद्योगपति को दे तो रबड़ी है।
अभी आप आगे के लिए वादा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन बेहतर ये होता कि पहले अपने 5 साल की रिपोर्ट कार्ड आप दें। आपने कितनी स्कूटी बांटी हैं, कितने लोगों को लैपटॉप दिए हैं, कितनी नौकरियां दी हैं, कितना औरतों को भत्ता दिया है। तो 5 साल की रिपोर्ट कार्ड पेश किए बिना आप आगे का वादा करेंगे तो लोग उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हैं। और हमारी जो मैनिफेस्टो में घोषणाएं हैं उसको लोगों ने एक्सेप्ट किया है। हमने बहुत सोच समझकर अपना मैनिफेस्टो बनाया है।
The Aam Aadmi Party too is eyeing Himachal, with Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal leading the campaign, holding roadshows to woo voters. Himachal Pradesh goes to polls on November 12th. Will BJP buck the trend, or will the Congress return to power? The question will be answered on December 8th. With Kamaljeet Sandhu in Shimla, Bureau Report, India Today.
Moving on, viewers, actor turned politician Pawan Kalyan once again broke the internet along with breaking some serious laws. Why? Here's more.
Telugu actor Pawan Kalyan was waiting for his golden moment to shine in politics, and he seems to have found quite a filmy way to grab attention. The actor turned politician pulled off a massive stunt which his fans may call daring, but is in every way illegal. Pawan was spotted sitting on the rooftop of a speeding car, defying all police orders, making his way to a village in Guntur to meet families affected by a recent demolition drive. The visual, which may initially look like a scene from a big-budget action film, shows Pawan Kalyan leading the convoy, sitting on top of a luxury SUV with his team members dangling on either sides. In fact, there are a bunch of escort vehicles following the star, and they too appear to be aping Pawan Kalyan's stunt. The car behind has nearly 3 people sitting on the rooftop and over 5 people dangling on both sides of the car. The convoy is seen visibly speeding and swerving on a highway, risking not just Pawan Kalyan's life, but also endangering all his team members, who appear squished and tightly holding on to the car rails. One can only imagine what would have really happened if one of those drivers had to apply a sudden brake.
We have already ordered our police department to take necessary action regarding the situation what he has done on the roads. See, it's not a political. He thinks it's a. It's not. It's a cinematic kind of a thing. It's a real life. It's not. It's a real life thing. No, it's not a real life one.
This was Pawan's way of sending out a political message to arch rival and Andhra Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy. After the daring stunt, Pawan landed at that village, met with the families, and there too, in full filmy style, promised those villagers to take action against those who demolished their homes. Pawan Kalyan has been fairly desperate to make his political opening in Andhra Pradesh. His Jana Sena party was launched in 2014 but failed to gain any traction ever since. Jana Sena party briefly allied with the BJP in 2014 and then with the left parties and BSP in 2019. After failing to make any real impact, Pawan Kalyan is now set to enter an alliance with Chandrababu Naidu's TDP. Whatever be Pawan's political will, this stunt was surely in poor taste and about time concerned authorities crack a whip. Bureau Report, India Today.
You're watching a fact-check segment where we bust certain claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp group. There's a claim floating about suggesting Imran Khan walking 3 days after getting shot in the leg. Incorrect, factually, fabricated news. This is an old video of 2021. Nothing to do with Imran Khan, who's still recuperating in a hospital right now. An old clip of 2021 of Imran Khan was circulated pretending or made to look like it was after he was shot and he walked out.